Hi everybody, it's great to be back here again on tomorrow. I can't say it's Friday, it happens to be Motzei Shabbat, it's Saturday night. I didn't get a chance to get a lesson out, I apologize for that. But of course we can't let the week go by without getting a small message out to our wonderful observers, watchers, whatever you want to call it, participators in our Torah classes. It was a very, very busy week. We have to thank Hashem so much for the rain that came down, the abundance. The Canaries rose 18 centimeters in 2 days. It was a 20-year record that was set. So we got to keep praying for rain, and we're really so happy that the winter began the proper way, which has really been so far a nice amount of rainfall. We got to keep praying it keeps it up, and that the Canary is filled to the top by the end of the winter. That finally, after many years of drought, we will the Canary will be restored to its full level, proper capacity. That should be. Yeah, just a couple of days. A couple of days ago I was caught in the storm and I had to run to Chulon to get a part for my washing machine that went on the blink. And I was sent by my neighbor who's a technician. He don't have stores in Itamar to buy parts, so he goes, go out there and get the part over here. And I went out to look for a store and to find a certain part. I fixed the certain kind of electrical part for my washing machine, but I needed also carbon connectors to my engine. So he sent me on a goose chase over there. I finally found another store and listened to the story, which is connected to this week's portion, of course, Vayigash. I go into the store, and I'm sitting there, they're telling me, okay, you got to do this, do that, get this part. Finally, they looked through the up and down, they found it for my old washing machine, and I had the part. I was so happy. I go outside, and all of a sudden this guy, this big guy, scary looking kind of guy, says, come with me, please. And I said, what's going on over here? I mean, this guy's, pretty scary looking. And it's raining, coming down. No, I must talk to you. Please come with me. I said, okay, I'm not outside. I'm not outside of Israel where there are strangers or dangerous. I'm in Israel, right? Of course, I'm a pretty tough guy myself. I can handle myself. I was saying, come on. But anyway, this guy comes and says, you must come with me. Okay, stranger, never saw me before. Huge, monster-looking guy. He goes, listen, I heard your conversation inside the store. You bought these carbon connectors for your engine of your washing machine. I want to tell you gotta be so careful. Because if you don't clean your engine properly, you're going to burn your whole car you just spent money fixing. I feel really bad. I want you to do the right job. Please come. And he takes an engine out, and he started to show me how to clean it. And I said, wait a second, I have a technician, and he's going to help me. No, I want to show you because he may not know the proper way. The guy's 20 minutes explaining to me how to do this thing. I was saying, wow. After I finished with that story, and I said to myself, Moshe, we're told in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, we must always judge someone. I'm sorry. L'kav school, to give them the merit, the benefit of the doubt for anyone. And even if sometimes you think someone may be a little weird, a little strange, or this, wow, just judge him. Just judge him favorably. That's what you should. So here I'm thinking this is a little weird story. What does this guy want? And all of a sudden, he comes out there and spends 20 minutes of his life explaining to me with such, with such love and caring in every word to try to explain to me how to fix my washing machine and make sure I tell my neighbor, the technician, how to do it, so it would be the proper, it would work well. He didn't want me to have a problem. So I was saying to myself, wow, what kind of brotherly love? He doesn't know who I am. He's just a good person, and that's a lesson for all of us connecting to this week's portion. The whole story of Joseph, the terrible tragedy, and sometimes we don't absorb it enough, how brothers can actually sell a brother down to slavery. Of course, it's a nightmare, and it's hard to believe. House of Israel. The children, the tribes of Israel, they go sell the brother. Of course, we see what came of it. An amazing thing came out of that. But the act itself was a terrible, terrible act. It's a nightmare to think about. And in order to rectify the selling of Joseph, the opposite has to be done constantly. We have to constantly work on love and brotherly love and work on relationships with people, and always judge people properly and kindly and show love and kindness to people. That's really the response to as we say, rectification for what happened. And we see, of course, how Yosef, this area of Itamar, the fact that he's buried right below us over here, we are so connected to Joseph. Wow, Yosef is our whole, where our soul is so connected to him because we live in his, in the tribal portions of Ephraim and Menashe. Right here in Itamar, we're in the tribal portion of Ephraim and Joseph. It's amazing, and we are very connected. So we love when these week's portions come along that we talk about again, and every year we never get bored of talking about these portions. We always, of course, We feel very, very his presence. Right now, as I talk to you in my living room, he's not too far away from us over here. So you're actually getting the experience here from this living room here, Imani Tamar, the feeling of Joseph out there. And that's a great question of why does brothers do such a terrible thing? We discussed this in the past. What could be a possible reason for that terrible tragedy? And of course, we see homes. It happens today. As a rabbi and a teacher, I meet many different people, and people confide in me, and you hear stories that there is still strife and difficulties and family feuds that go on, and it's very, very painful. And when you hear a story like I just told you about the opposite of someone showing love and kindness, it's amazing. And of course, this week's portion, finally, after the suspense, we had in the other week, the portion of what's going to be with with Benjamin now, the Gavia, the goblet was found found in his saddle, and Joseph blaming him, etc., etc. And Yehuda now standing up from Joseph and telling, and confronting Joseph now. And until finally Joseph reveals himself, it's an amazing feeling, of course. The brothers finally uniting after such a terrible, terrible tragedy. What went on for so many years. Think about Jacob, the suffering he went through. He didn't even know what was going on. When we learn Bible, when we study our Torah, we have to feel what's happening. It's not just a story. These are real live experiences that constantly continue. We have to rectify. We have to always rectify and think of how we can actually rectify the situation by doing the opposite, by connecting and working on the brotherly love. One amazing thing, which I think also connects to this concept, is Benjamin. As we know, there's a very special relationship between Joseph and Benjamin, as we know. Why? Because the fact that they were two brothers from the same mother, and is enlisted when the Torah talks about the genealogy of the different names of the children, and it gives the whole list of the 70 from the tribes, the 12 tribes, the 70 sons, the 70 nefashot, souls that went down to Egypt, came down with Joseph. It talks about, lists again the different sons. And here we have a list of Benjamin. What does it say? Ubenei Binyamin, the sons of Binyamin. Bela uvavecher vashbel gera v'naman achi echi v'rosh mupim v'chupim v'ard. 10 sons over here. I think I counted them right. And every one of these sons, honestly, I don't hear too many names. People calling their sons Becher, Bela, Ashbel. These names are not too famous, A name like Moshe is pretty famous. A name like Yosef is very famous. But names of Benjamin's sons, why aren't they too famous in Israel today? Why are people using these names? I didn't hear many. Mupim, Chupim. What kind of name is Chupim? But there's a beautiful midrash in Tanchuma that talks about the love, the brotherly love between Benjamin and Joseph. That Benjamin was he felt the absence of his brother so much that every one of his children that were born, he gave them a name to remind him of his brother that was missing. He's missing in action, his brother. Joseph is missing in action at this point, as far as Benjamin knows in the family. He doesn't know what's going on. Benjamin never knew what would happen, right? So Benjamin is saying, Chupim, for example, I'm not going to mention all the names. The Midrash, look in Tanchuma. We don't have time to go through that Midrash of every name. Whatever name means, for example, Bela, like means swallowed up. He was swallowed up. Out there somewhere, Becha, he was the firstborn of my mother. Becha means the firstborn. You're going to go on here, for example, Mupim means from my mouth. Means from a mouth. He heard Torah from the mouth of his father. He was studying Torah. Chupim means the chuppah, the bridal canopy. He goes, I didn't merit to see his marriage, and he didn't merit to see my marriage. So can you imagine this? A father having 10 children. Binyamin, and every son, every time he looks at one of his sons, he's going to mention that name of his dear brother Joseph, and remember Joseph, and not forget him until Joseph returns. And that's an amazing thing. Amazing thing. We see this amazing reunion of the brothers now. When Joseph finally can't hold back anymore, he tests his brothers. We all know why. He said, "You're spies," and did what he did. He wanted, of course, to take a responsibility over the action that they did. They're not going to do the same thing to Benjamin. But we see finally the brothers reuniting again. There's a great, great feeling. It's a feeling of peace, of tranquility finally, of brothers breaking down all these fences and the walls that were built over the years, which is an amazing thing. If we look about it today, again, today's situation, of course, of the return, as we read about in this week's Haftarah. Haftarah meaning the Navi, the prophet that we read about this week's portion. We read about Yecheskel. We read Yecheskel 37. If you look at the Yecheskel 37, what does the prophet say? V'ata ben adam kach lecha eitz echad, take one tree, uktov alav liYehuda, and write on it Judah. V'levnei Yisrael chavirav, and the children of Israel are chavirav, are friends, brothers. Ulekach eitz echad, uktov alav liYosef, eitz Ephraim, and the other tree, write on it Ephraim, the kol beit Yisrael chavirav, and all of Israel are friends. V'karav otam, and bring them together, echad el echad, one tree over the next, le'etz echad, to one tree. V'yu lachadim yadecha, there'll be one in your hands. So the prophet Yecheskel, again, is commanded, God is telling him, to take these trees and have one of Judah and one of Joseph, and combine these trees to one tree. Judah must reunite with Joseph. There's always tension between Judah and Joseph, because they're both leaders. We spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. We spoke about the Messiah of Joseph and the Messiah of David. We didn't really speak about, which we will talk about more. But these are two, again, great forces. When people have a lot of strength and they're leaders, natural leaders, there's friction and tension that go on between them. And the beauty, of course, is to unite these forces together, to bring the forces of Joseph and Judah as one combined tree, completely united together. And he goes on to say, the prophet, and the people will ask you, what is this? Say to them, and thus says God, and I'll take the tree of Joseph, right, in the hands of Ephraim and the tribes of Israel. Explain to them, there will be one in my hand, there will be one tree. And I will take Israel amongst the nations. The people of Israel went among them. They wandered about amongst the nations throughout the exile. 2,000 years we were scattered about. V'kibatzti otam misaviv, and I'll gather them around. V'veiti otam el admatam, and I will bring them back to the land. They will return. Israel will return to the land of Israel. It's not a storybook over here, but God is promising a return to the land of Israel. V'asiti otam legoy echad ba'aretz, I'll make them one nation in the land. Beharei Yisrael. It's amazing when I thought about it. We discussed it at the Shabbat table with my family today. We're talking about the story of Joseph, in Judah, this unification of the two sides. And what's amazing, it talks about here, the prophet about the mountains of Israel. And here we are on the mountains of Shomron, Samaria. And it's here that he's talking about, of course, and the mountains of Judah. And this portion here is interesting, is a tribal portion of Joseph and Judah together. That's called Yesha, Yehuda Shomron today. And we returned to these hills, very hills, and the spirit of Joseph was in all of us. That means that we spoke about the Messiah of Joseph, which means every person, we have part of that in us. Those of us have returned to the land and are building the land and are developing the land. And of course, those who are helping support the land by sending in, funds to support the land of Israel and help amazing people, our wonderful friends out there that are doing amazing things. They're all part of the Messiah of Joseph, who is building the land and preparing the stage of Judah to come, as we know, the combination, because Judah is going to be the head. Upon this base, Joseph is always the yesod, meaning the foundation. And upon this, the other part of the tree is going to come upon Judah, which is going to be the spiritual leading of the land, of course, leading us towards building the third and final temple, and which will together the entire nation, which have a lot of secular parts of the nation of Israel today, unfortunately. The court system is a secular court system in Israel still, right? We still have a lot of people that are still not Torah observant. And the entire nation, of course, will have to is returning now. This huge birth of people returning to Torah in Israel that were secular Jews their whole lives, and now we see so many people coming back and wanting to study Torah all over the place. This is the return of Judah, and combining with Joseph with the first stage of building the land, and together we're preparing, of course, the land of Israel for the final third temple, which is going to be built hopefully speedily nowadays. And this is all the fact that when the brothers unite, this all comes from brotherly love. It will happen through loving one another, through outreach, through opening your door and letting your brother in. and not putting up a fence and holding him out. And so the story I told you before, what happened to me, was a sign, in my opinion, so connected to this week's portion, so beautiful. So let us take this brotherly love and let us just do it. Go out there and influence others and just have your heart in it and just reach out to others and show them the way. Outreach and show your love to your fellow neighbor. And this, of course, will bring our redemption very, very soon. Well, anyway, you have a wonderful week. I'm happy you're back with me here again, and we'll talk again soon. Shavua Tov, I can say now. Shavua Tov. B'Sarot Tovot, tomorrow is a fast day. Asara B'Tevet. It's also the day we'll commemorate the Holocaust, so tomorrow, we'll see. Tomorrow I'm going to try my best to do a special Torah on the fast day. If God willing, I can get it out. Okay, so have a wonderful week again. Shalom.